Hello everyone, welcome back to the Resin Lab by Alexandra. Today I am going to work on some phone stands. So this is my own little concoction that I came up with. I got these molds from Let's Resin a couple years ago, and I've made some phone stands before and they've sold pretty well when I go to craft fairs, and so I'm running a little low. So I decided to pull these out and replenish my stock. So what I do is I pour the geode molds as the base, and then I pour the character with the moon, and then I put the pieces together like this with UV resin and some glue. I add some rocks to create like a little barrier to hold a phone, and it becomes a phone stand. So for the wolf with the moon, I decided to go with Silver Gray by Chang TG. I'm going to try and get that in the wolf as much as I can. And then for the moon and the base, I went with moss green and blackish green. For the cat and the moon, I chose primrose yellow and shimmer gold. And then for the fairy, I chose mauve and shimmer red. So this has like a little bit of a red tint to it. I think you can see that in the camera. So I'm going to mix up about 200 milliliters of resin and get started. So I'll be right back. Okay, I mixed up about 200, just over 200 milliliters. I'm going to let's start with the wolf. So I'm going to set these aside, and we're going to mix up the three colors. And I'm just guesstimating here. It's been a minute since I've made these. I think because I do a top coat as well to secure the moon with the character, which I forgot to mention earlier, aside from the UV resin. So I use the UV resin to secure the character on the moon to the base, but then I also do a clear top coat so that it's nice and permanent. So I don't want to fill this all the way. So I want to say this will take about 50 or 60 milliliters, and same with the moon. So I need about 120. So I'm going to do 40. I'll do 50 and 50 and then 20 for the wolf, and see how that goes. And I think maybe I'll use a smaller cup for the silver gray. And I'm going to do the correct way and make a paste with my mica powder first. And go with that much. So this is, again, Silver Gray by Chang TG. Now I can pour the rest to about 20 milliliters. And I think honestly that might be a little too much, but it's okay. That's a nice color. Okay, so now we'll do blackish green. That looks, doesn't have too much of a blackish color. Still pretty though. It's a very pretty green. Curious to see what the moss green will look like. I hope, I'm also going to put some glue because I don't want these colors to make a new one and blend. So let me just spritz a little bit of alcohol just to break up any of those powder points. And if you've been watching my videos, thank you so much for following me, and if you've watched my previous videos, thank you so much for supporting me and sticking with me through them. I know they are a little long, so I'm working on trying to make them a little bit shorter so that I'm not boring everybody with my chattering, but sometimes the projects just take a long time. So, but I think this video might be a little bit shorter, but who knows? I think it will be shorter, but I could be wrong. Because I'm thinking now I have to top coat, I have to put them together under the UV light, I have to put the rocks and such, and so yeah, it might end up being a long video. So if you've stuck with me, I appreciate it. I hope you subscribe to the channel. Oh, I'm kind of seeing the blackish on that green now. Okay. And let's get some Elmer's glue. See if I can remember which stick was which. I think this was this one. I love the effect that the Elmer's glue has on the colors, but I really don't like the consistency that it creates. But I guess you can't have everything perfect. It is a couple days before Christmas, so I do want to take a moment and recognize that. I hope everyone has wonderful plans if you celebrate Christmas. My family and I celebrate on the 24th because in Latin America, that is the day that it is celebrated. So, and I was born here in the US, but my parents are from El Salvador. So my whole life, we've always celebrated on the 24th, and we stay up till midnight and open gifts at midnight. Okay, time to pour. I'm going to, I cleaned these molds out earlier and I still see some gunk in there. All right, let's go for that. Okay, that wasn't too bad. They actually contrast each other pretty nicely, so that's good. That looks nice. I think I'm going to swirl. Well, no, because I don't want the colors to mix. Well, I think I'll just pull just to give it a nice effect. So it's not just a blunt line in the middle. There we go. That looks like a nice ombre effect. Just bring this out. And I can probably pour, let's see, I had 20 in there, and there's about 5 or 7 left, so that means it took about 13. I don't want to have to trim it too much, so that should be good. All right, set that aside and let's do this. This consistency kills me. It's easy when you're just pouring into something like a jar, but when you're trying to create a nice effect, it can be a little challenging. There we go. And let's pour the rest of this. And that's about halfway full, which is perfect. And let's see. Let's grab a tool here, just kind of bring in. Again, I don't want them to blend, but I do want like something pretty. Something not too girly, just because men tend to be the one who pick out the wolf cell phone stands. And I got a blunt line here on my moon. So I'm just gonna, you know what, maybe I'll just leave it. Maybe I'll just leave it and I continue to swirl. That is a problem that I have. I don't know how to leave stuff alone, but I kind of like that better than just the line in the middle. So hopefully it stays that way. Okay, so that's those guys. gonna move that there. Okay, so now, so let's see, I poured, how much did I pour? Let me clean up a little bit here. Be right back. All right, I am back. So let's do, I have about 100 left. So I'm gonna do 50 and 50. It means I'll probably have to, not probably, I will have to mix more up for the fairy, which is fine. And this time I'm not going to put glue in there, and hopefully the colors don't blend too much to make a new color. And if they do, then I suppose it's fine. But getting that's the first time that I put glue in the resin when doing these pieces, because I've done it before. I did it the other day in another video doing a jar mold, but again, you're just pouring straight into the mold. You're not really maneuvering, and so these ones are a little smaller. So I need a little more flexibility with them to get so that it doesn't get too messy. So let's mix this. Right, let's get ready to pour. Darn it. Let's see. Well, you don't seem to be mixing too badly, so that's good. Then again, I'm just doing a simple pour here. Fill up this kitten. A little more. I just sprayed my hands with alcohol to see if that would clean off the resin, but my hands are too sticky. So I'm going to grab another pair of gloves. Yeah, I'm glad I did not put glue in this color, because that would have been extremely messy. So I'm gonna mix some more resin, clean up a little bit, and then I'll be back once more. Okay, I'm back. I've got about 230 milliliters. Probably gonna be too much, but that's okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour. Oh no. Oh no, it's not doing what I thought it would do. Oh well, kind of. I figured I'd pour clear in here and have it spread out, but the resin is just so thick that it's not cooperating. So let me heat up. Let's see if this works. Nope, kinda, sorta, but not really. But that's okay. We'll see what kind of an effect that has. That's starting to push it out, which is what I wanted. There we go. But I did want the colors a little more spread out, not just want them blended a little bit here. Not blended, ombre. There we go. That looks much better. Okay, that looks nice. I like that. Not a total disaster. All right, so I'll set that aside. and let's see, I've got 200, so I need about 120 for the fairy and the base. So 60 and 60. 60. 60. And I think I know what I'm going to do with the leftover. So I'm going to let it sit and deep bubble. I'm pulling out, I'm going to do a little dog and cat and see and use alcohol inks in that one. So I'm going to let the bubbles rise out of this for a little bit longer. Meantime, let's mix this. Let's see, shimmer red and mauve. All right, let's get pulling. I didn't spray alcohol earlier, and of course I didn't remember until afterwards. I think I want to do, well, you know what, let's just go for it. That looks nice. Let's pour a little bit in there for the star. I like that. I'm gonna pull down here a little bit. Maybe pull it up. That's better. Kind of looks like fire in her wings. Okay, I think I can do a teeny bit more. Dome that. There we go. That looks nice. Okay, let's pour. Okay. All right. That doesn't look bad. That doesn't look bad at all. So I'm going to go ahead and place everything on the heat mat, and I'll be back to show you how I prop up the moons on top of the bases, and then we'll finish them up with rocks and top coat them, and they'll be ready to go. I just realized I have another 80 milliliters of resin, and so I'm going to pour one of these. I'm going to pour this little pup guy right here. Let's see. There we go. And I'm going to do him in the color Latte, the Let's Resin alcohol ink, because I love this color. I love how it came out on some teddy bears I did a couple videos ago. So I'm just going to drip some of that in there. And hopefully this is enough resin. Perfect. Oh, I'm so glad that was enough. I thought it was going to be either too much or too little. That's perfect. I love the color, the way it looks already. All right. That is the last of it. Now I'm going to go put everything on the heat mat, and then I'll see you all when I put these cell phone stands together and demold this guy. Welcome back. So it is time to demold the moons with the characters and assemble the phone stands. And it's also time to demold the teddy bears. And I'm really excited to see how this pup came out. I'm looking at it through here and it looks so cute so far. So let's start out with the little teddy bears. Cute as always. So I've got 4 of those. I'll be putting magnets on these. And these I'll be packaging up to give away at craft fairs or when I get orders. Because they're so tiny, they don't take very much resin. All right, so let's do the pup. Oh, I can see I got bubbles around the edge. But that is adorable. I got some bubbles on the snout and on the ears. I do have to trim or sand down the edge on the back a little bit, but this is not too bad considering the resin was very thick when I poured it. I don't have any air pocket bubbles, which is good. So yeah, that came out adorable. I think I might keep this piece for myself. I love the color, and I'm excited because I just set up my vacuum chamber. So I'm going to be trying out my vacuum chamber on the clear that I pour to attach the moons with the characters to here to make the cell phone stand. So, all right, let's demold this. Not too much mystery here, just because you can see what I poured. Do want to be careful if you do make these. They do tend to be a little soft even after the first 24 hours of curing. So you want to be very careful when demolding. You can see it's a little bendy right now. So that looks pretty. I just have to trim the edges a little bit. So that'll go here. Now the cat, I did get a couple of air pocket bubbles. Not a big deal though. And I do have to trim, oh, they're coming off. So I am gonna have to sand this down here and trim off some excess. Oh, well, that came off pretty easy, not too bad. That looks cute. Honestly, I think I like this side better, but you can see the air pocket there. Maybe what I'll do is I'll put some stones along the edge of the moon to hide that little pocket there. We'll see. And finally the wolf. So I normally don't dome these because you can see that I get overage and I'll have to trim, but I am glad that I did dome them because otherwise I'd have to trim them a little more. So it's not, I'd rather just file them with on the edge with one of my metal files. But yeah, that looks great. Don't like that side. Definitely like this side. So that's that. So now I'm going to go ahead and assemble the cell phone stands, put some eyes and a mouth on the teddy bears, and probably outline the mouth and nose and the eyes, even though they're closed, on the pup. So let's get to it. Hello again. So I am in love with how these little teddy bears turned out. Very cute. I did something different and painted the eyes blue so that they match the tie, and I thought that came out really cute. So those are the teddy bears. Here is the dog. We put him under a white paper towel. So that came out very pretty. I'm keeping this one for myself just because of the bubbles that are on the bottom, but I drew a little sleeping face and it looks so adorable. It just finishes it up. So there's the dog. And now, so right here, luckily I was babysitting these while they were curing. I noticed that one of the rocks came off and started to cure in here, so I quickly took it off and poured some more resin. So you can kind of see that little line, but it doesn't hurt anything. But let's go ahead and demold. And there's not much of a surprise here other than just seeing the finished product. So this is nice and sturdy now. And that's what the finished product looks like. So this is a phone stand. I'll be putting some silicone bumpers on the bottom to keep them from slipping. So that's the fairy. Here are the silicone bumpers on the bottom to keep that from slipping. Just put those on right now. And this is what they look like. These I ordered by mistake. They're a little too high because I use these for coasters. So, but they work fine for the phone stands. It just gives it a little bit of height, which is fine. Okay, let's do the cat next. Oops, get those out of the way. And here is the finished product for the cat. Came out very nice. I like the blend of the colors. Go ahead and put these bumpers on. There we go. And finally the wolf. And there we go. Let me just get these bumpers on. And as you can see, these are nice and sturdy. They're cured. So they are nice and strong to hold a phone. They can hold the heavy Android phones or the lighter, or they're pretty sturdy. Usually what I do is I have my customers, when I'm at craft fairs, I have my customers go ahead and test their phone just to make sure that it works, because you never know, phone might be too big or too small. And so far I haven't had any complaints. You do just want to make sure not to drop these, but even then, this is embedded. They're all embedded in the resin, so they should be nice and sturdy. But okay, thank you so much for watching. If you stuck with me this far, I hope you subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you on Christmas Eve. Thank you. Bye.